All right. So thank you for joining us on the Jax podcast, talking about the journey and experiences of other people that I've met along my journey. And today I have Caylee, which I'm super excited to talk with you. I just from meeting you and seeing you, I can tell that you're a really smart person and you're passionate about what you're doing. And so, yeah, I just want to hear a little bit about your backstory and how you've gotten to where you are today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for that. That's probably the best introduction I've ever gotten from somebody. It's so fun because you said it to me, but when I met you, like I thought that you were older than me, not because of the way that you looked at all, but because of like the way that you held yourself. And so it's so funny. I remember when you asked me and Monica how old we are, and you said that you're 26, right? I
Yeah.
was like, I thought you were like 35 maybe, like again, like not the way that you look at all, just like the way that you act, the way that you're in the group and everything. So that was funny to me. But yeah, so I am originally from Wisconsin. I grew up there. I had like a small stint of living in Crystal River when I was younger, and then I went to the University of Wisconsin. I got my bachelor's and master's in accounting, and got my CPA when I moved to Texas after school. So I started my career in Austin, and I had been wanting to be an accountant since I was 8 years old. It was like, it was, I don't even know why it happened, but we had like these time capsules that we got back in our senior year that we had written in middle school. And I was like, I'm going to be an accountant. I'm going to live outside of Wisconsin. Like, I was like so excited. So I was fulfilling my childhood dreams, I guess, when I started in Austin. But yeah, I hated it. So like from before I even started working, I hated it. I found out that I was going to be traveling to Dallas and working on a client that I didn't want to be on. Like my goal had been to start in real estate, like auditing companies in real estate, so that I could learn about that and then be able to transition into real estate later. But when I transferred my offer from Chicago to Austin, I didn't realize that Austin was a super small office and they didn't have any real estate clients. So yeah, I started my career kind of on a sour note, and I would like in public accounting, you work like 75 hours, 80 hours a week during busy season. And so I would like late night at like 10 p.m., I'd be in the office still. And I would just be like on Indeed, like looking for other jobs. And I interviewed for a bunch of jobs. I kept trying to get into real estate and like find my like area, but I don't think I didn't know what I wanted to do. It was just like, I want to be in real estate. Like, like don't know what that is though. So it's funny because I feel like at the time, it just felt like I was like walking through like mud kind of, like it just felt like it wasn't getting anywhere. And then now looking back, it's like, okay, that's cool because I wasn't meant to be in real estate yet. Like I didn't actually know what I wanted. And so it's hard to like, had I taken those other jobs, I probably wouldn't be where I am now. And I don't think I'd be as happy as I am now. So I'm appreciative of that. But 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago, I guess now, I did like a 30-day sober. And during that time, my whole purpose was to teach myself how I was going to do courses on like how to underwrite real estate and then hopefully get a new job after that. And a couple of weeks in, I realized that I just felt so much better and like mentally, physically, like it had been huge for me. So I stopped drinking completely at that point. So it's been 2.5 years since I've had like, I'll take like sips and stuff of people's drinks, but I don't drink anymore. And that kind of was the beginning of me actually getting into real estate. So even with that, I've jumped around a decent amount. But 3 months ago, I quit my dispositions job at New Western so that I could go all in on flipping and just doing my own thing. So right now I have a flip that I'm working on. I'm waiting for the permits to be approved. And then I started door knocking with my friend Monica, who you and I both know. So we're doing pre-foreclosure. So that has been a journey. And I feel like even this week alone, like after I saw you and talked to some other people in sub two, like I had to sit down and be like, there's something that I'm doing wrong right now. And I need to figure out what that is. Like I need to like refine some stuff. So I've been like going through my script, going through like what we leave behind and everything. So I'm going door knocking after this, and I'm hoping that like some of what I'm learning is like helps me get to that. I feel like I'm like right on the edge, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. Oh, so where do you think that interest in real estate came from?
Yeah, so it was so random. Like I audited a company in Chicago. It would have been my senior year, and it was so much fun. Because typically when you audit companies, like in this environment, it's like technology, insurance, it's all these things that are like not real. Like they're just like buzzwords kind of. Like they're things, but they're not tangible, you know?
Yeah.
And so real estate was so easy for me. It's like, oh, I was doing student apartments. So it was like, oh, you're building these apartment buildings. People are staying in them. This is the money that you're making off of it. I just thought it was so cool. I don't know why, but as soon as the way that my school was set up, you did your internship during your senior semester, and then you come back and you do your master's. So in my master's, I had extra credits that I didn't need to use on accounting. And so I took real estate courses. I took like real estate 101 and then real estate valuations. And I love it. But again, it's funny because it's like those were commercial, like the valuations and the like what I was doing with auditing was both commercial. And like I have no desire to be in commercial real estate, like at all. And that's what I didn't realize is like when I was interviewing with these jobs, like I couldn't like explain to them what it was that I liked. And then when last summer I used to underwrite. I used to be on a real estate team at a travel company. So I would underwrite like how much we would pay somebody to let us use their house as like a short-term rental. And it was cool. I liked it, but I wasn't like, I kept getting capped. Like I was like, I want to do more. I want to make more. I want to have like more autonomy. And then I found my last job, New Western, online. So you had to be an agent to work at New Western. And it was like, forgot what the wording was, but working with investors, like selling houses to investors. And I was like, oh my gosh, like running numbers and helping investors make money. Like that feels like more in line with what I want to do. And then as soon as I started working and like consuming bigger pockets on flipping and burrs and all that stuff, I was in love. Like I absolutely love that stuff.
That's awesome. What was it about New Western that you didn't really like?
There was an investor that asked me to manage his flips for him. So he would buy them for me and then I would manage them. And there was 3 that I was working on, one that we actually, I guess 4, I don't know. It was kind of like gray area. Like he asked me to do it like partly through one of them. I did one completely from start to finish and sold it. And then other ones, he like offloaded one of them like midway through, which was kind of frustrating. But I realized that I could do it better if I was on my own. Like I, at this point, had realized that like private money lenders and all that stuff, like my private money lender is my mom. So sometimes depending on who I'm talking to, I'm like, oh, I have a private money lender, or I'll just be like, my mom is my private money lender. She was super interested. She's like, I want to be a part of this. Like, what can I do? And I was like, in my head, I was like, why am I sitting here doing it and I was doing it for 10% of the profit. So like he made 30, I made 3. And my mom doesn't know that much about real estate and she like wants to help me get going. And so I was able to negotiate 50-50 with her. So she's full cash, I'm full brain. And then at the end it's 50-50. I got that from somebody else that was doing it at New Western. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do it fully on my own. But I spent like months trying to like run numbers and find deals and also do my job. But at New Western, like you have to be 100% in on selling. Like it is like a 60-hour a week job just to sell and be successful at it, because it's a competition, right? So it's like the first person to sell the house, like it's just the first person to sell. It's not the highest bidder or whatever. And I just felt like some of our values weren't aligned. Like I wasn't excited to go into work anymore. It was fun and I loved the people, but it had taught me everything that it could teach me. I felt like I was then teaching other people, but I was putting my time and effort into teaching people who then would leave like a month later because it's really high turnover. So that's kind of where I was at. Is like, I want to keep learning and growing. So I need to be around I need to like elevate the people I'm surrounded by, right? Like
Yeah.
the circle of people. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So with the flip, the one that you're doing right now, is that the first one you're doing on your own, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've already learned so much. Like just from this, I've already changed like the way that I'll do stuff in the future. Like I was in between GCs. I hadn't like fully picked one. It wasn't until after I closed that one of my mentors was like, hey, here's my GC. I love him. And he's like, oh my God, he's amazing. They tell you like in the Burr book, and a lot of people in general will tell you that you need to find a GC that is an investor himself. And that is so important. It's hard to find. It's so hard to find. So when my mentor like gave me her GC, I started crying and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you would do that. Like, typically you want to like hold those people close to your chest so that you don't lose them.
Yeah.
So yeah, and even just like yesterday we went to walk the property and he was like pointing stuff out and he was like, do you want this updated? And not like the windowsill has like tiling on it and he was like, do you want this updated? And I was like, I don't really care. Like to me, windowsills, like I have the original ones in my house that I'm looking at right now. I don't really care that much. And he was like, I don't like them. I think that they should be wood. And like, he's like, I think it would go with the rest of the house. So having somebody that like, he's saying that because he does that on his own houses. Whereas like other DCs, like they just want to make the most profit on the house. They don't give a shit at all. Like they don't care. They don't like see certain things the way that you would, or like as a flipper would.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So from there, what is it that you're kind of working towards? What does that path look like for you?
Yeah. So I was super lucky. I think like a big reason I left New Western is because I met somebody at a networking event that like was just my energy. Like I met him and I was like, oh my, but he's doing like really big and amazing things. So I was like, I just want to be around you. And I was lucky that he works at a super small brokerage. It's the one that I'm at now. There's only 4 of us full time. One of them is the boss and like partial owner. So right now my goal is to my boss, the one that hired me, he wants to start flipping again. He used to previously, and then they stopped because they had some like losses. During the beginning of COVID, like they kind of got screwed. So him seeing what I'm doing, he's getting super excited about it. And so he's like, if you find the properties, I will buy them. You can manage them, the flips, and then you can also list them yourself. So my number one goal, like in the next year, is to basically create a process where like either I'm managing them for my boss and I'm making more than that 10%. Like I'm ideally making like 30 to 40%, or I'm using like my mom or other people as private money lenders. So I'm basically trying to like over the next year, like scale up by leveraging other people around me. So that's my goal, is to probably do like 6 to 8 flips a year using them.
That's awesome. That's so exciting.
Yeah, I love it. That's like flipping to me is like, it's not necessarily a career. Like I am trying to do like getting buy and holds and like other stuff like that to have like consistent income. But flipping is just like, I love it. Like it goes with my brain so much, of like very organized type A, like timeline and everything. I love it.
That's awesome. And I know we've talked a little bit about personal development and stuff. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so I feel like I'm always reading some type of personal development book. I'm definitely trying to be more intentional about like, I think I'm going to start like I've already just now started rereading a book. So Never Split the Difference, I read when I first graduated college. My dad had me and my brother read it. And then it's so funny now because like I've had like 4 or 5 people tell me to read it in the last like 6 months, like 2 people, and then like my boss, like stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, maybe I need to go read it again. And I have this journal that I bought right after college that I still have. And I was flipping through it and I have one page that's like Never Split the Difference notes. And then it was like all the stuff for it.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was so funny to see that. And then like, just going through that and seeing some other stuff too it's fun because I don't typically journal. So just to have going back and reading through that like made me want to start doing it again because I realized like how powerful it is. But yeah, so personal development to me is like reading and listening to audibles, like at least one at a time, and being very good about like taking notes and actually like talking to people about it so that I can make it stick a little bit more. And then also like taking care of my body has become so important to me, especially with the door knocking. I finally sat down this week and I was like, okay, these are all things that I need to do every single day. And so I put it on my calendar. Like I wake up early so that I can do my stretches. We go do ice baths, sauna, ice baths. I come back, I drink my salt water, bring my dog to the park so I can get like sun on my skin, in my eyes and everything. And then, yeah, I feel like making sure that I'm starting my day with all those items so that I'm like ready to go as soon as I'm sitting down for work or calling people.
Nice. I love that. Is there like any type of podcasts or anything that you listen to on a regular basis?
Yeah, I was super into Bigger Pockets when I was working at New Western. I was listening to probably one episode a day when I was driving. It's so funny because Alex, my boyfriend, he like made a joke yesterday about me listening to Bigger Pockets. And I was like, I honestly haven't listened to it in probably like 3 months because I've been so busy. I feel like, I don't even know. I don't really listen to podcasts anymore. Anymore is like in the last couple of months, so it's not that long. Yeah. But I just read a lot of books about like my favorite books are like Think and Grow Rich, Never Split the Difference. Rereading that again is like so helpful. And then The Breakthrough Code is another one that I haven't even finished the book, but I talk about it all the time. And I've read the first 100 pages like 4 times. But the way that it's set up is it's like you do step 1 and you should do it for like 2 weeks to a month before you move on to the next step. And so I keep kind of doing it over and over again. But it talks about the first step is every morning, afternoon, and night, sitting down and like visualizing the life that you want and like your next biggest breakthrough result. So for me, my next biggest breakthrough result is getting contracts consistently for our deals that we're door knocking. So it's like just like having that like 5-minute visualization of like that whole experience happening, like believing it, feeling it, seeing it, and then just letting it go so that my subconscious mind can kind of be at work the rest of the day. Yeah.
I love that. I haven't read that one, so I'll have to look into that for sure.
It's so close to Think and Grow Rich. I read Think and Grow Rich second, and it's funny now because I'm reading Think and Grow Rich, and I'm like, wait, that's what the breakthrough code is from. Like same wording and everything, like just like tweaks and stuff to make it more modern, and it's a full story. But yeah, it definitely comes from that.
Cool. And then, so how did you come across Sub 2?
I had been seeing him on Instagram and just kind of like all of his ads. And then the mentor that gave me her GC, her name is Nikki. She talked about him a couple of times. She's in it. She like her brother's in it, and she is like the business partner of him. So she had recommended, and she was like, you should just do the creative finance boot camp through Bigger Pockets. It was like $200. So I did that. And then within a week, I was like, yeah, I get all the concepts, but what I really want is the contracts and people that can be my private money lenders. And like, that is what Sub 2 is. Like the Sub 2 vault and like learning about Sub 2 is like such a small piece of what Sub 2 actually is. And people don't get that. Like you talk to somebody, you're like, oh, you're in Sub 2. And they're like, no, I can watch all that stuff for free on YouTube. And you're like, okay, if that's your mindset, like you're not looking at it the correct way, you know?
Yeah.
Because I feel like people come to our meetups that aren't in Sub 2 and like we're definitely nice to them and we talk to them. But the people that are like truly in Sub 2, like that is a different community. It's way more tight knit.
And I think it's just that like taking it to the next level of investment, like you're committed, like, you know, especially they say that when you get things for free, you don't really implement them. And so taking it to that next level of like, okay, I'm kind of putting my back to the wall, like, you know, it's not the most money of a mentorship, but it's a good amount of money that like when you put it up, you're like, okay, I want to figure out how to get that back and then some.
Yeah, exactly. And I ended up doing the executive package, and I probably wouldn't recommend that, but I feel like even just the regular one, it's like around 9,000, but you can write that off. So to me in my head, I was like 25% discount. There we go. Like, it's really not that bad. And it's a one-time fee. Like, it blows my mind that it's like one time and then it's like the continuous stuff. Like,
Oh yeah.
the Project Forward, I think, has been so big. Like, finally getting out there and like marketing ourselves, and then like the zero down. I know that you're doing that. Like, I feel like at some point I'll want to look at the vault and see all of that. And it's just so much information.
Yeah, it's amazing. You mentioned your boyfriend. Does he have any involvement of the real estate stuff? Is he interested in anything of that?
No, his involvement in real estate is that he owns the house that we live in. So that's pretty much it. I kind of try to force it a lot, but he is not that interested in it. So he's super into health. He plays tennis. Like, the reason why we met is because he went to the University of Wisconsin to play tennis. So that was D1. He came from Naples. He didn't even like really know what Wisconsin was, because let me back that up. He was raised in Spain. So raised in Spain, came to Naples for like 2 years, and then went to Wisconsin. And I didn't meet him at Wisconsin, but because of that connection, he met people that I had gone to school with, and they all moved in together after college. So I came to visit them, and that's how I met him.
Nice.
And then he ended up buying the house that we live in now. And yeah, he has money that I tried to get him to invest in properties, but we finally decided that like our next big like life goal is to buy a house in Spain. So he's like, you know what, I'm just going to keep my money and then we'll go 50-50 on a house in Spain. And I was like, you know what, that's fine with me.
That's awesome. Is the Spain thing, is that something that was ever on your mind, or kind of just came up and you're like, that sounds cool, or where's your head with that?
Yeah, so I'd always wanted to live in Europe my whole life, and I studied abroad in the Netherlands. I didn't go to Spain because a lot of the Spanish schools that were connected with mine, it's like where everybody went, and so I didn't want to be where everybody was, and so I went to the Netherlands instead. But when I was in the Netherlands, I went to visit Spain like 3 or 4 times, I think, and my sister lived in Barcelona, so I visited her when I was still in high school. So like I had been to Spain like 4 or 5 times. And then when I met my boyfriend, I was like, he's like, yeah, my parents have a house in Spain. And I was like, all right, here we go. Thank God. Like, this is like, I feel like this is very, like, it goes well together because Spain is one of my favorite countries. And we went last year to visit for 2 weeks. We went to his parents' place for 2 weeks, but then we did a weekend trip at 2 hours north, to Costa Brava, and I fell in love. So that's where I want to live now. And I'm like, the housing market there is like, it's like the price of the house is not expensive. It's like actually buying in Spain that's really expensive. So like a house that's like really pretty big and like on a nice size lot is like 400,000. But when you buy in Spain, you need like almost 50% down after taxes and like all these other things. So it's like you need $200,000 out of pocket. That's crazy. Whereas here, like depending on what program you do, it could be like 100,000 down to like 30,000, you know?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
And then last question I'll leave you with. If you could go back and talk to yourself 10 years ago, what do you think you would tell yourself?
I think I would tell myself to keep grinding. Like sometimes I see people that are super young, like Sean Castro, he was at the meetup, and there's some other young people that are in sub 2 that are like 19. And sometimes I get jealous of them. I'm like, oh my God, I wish like if I had been doing this when I was 19, but by the time I'm 28 now, like it's insane what I could have built, you know? But at the same time, like I feel like I was supposed to have those experiences to be where I am now. And so I just feel like I am happy where I am, and it's just to keep grinding. Like I wish I just would have been a little bit more okay with like not being where I thought I should be, you know, and like comfortable in the space that I was in.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, thank you so much for sharing and just getting to see a little bit of your backstory and where you're headed. I'm excited to see you get that house in Spain.
Yeah, I'm excited to come to your guys' place when you get some land. I'm gonna come
Yeah.
up. Do you have any
Yeah.
idea where you want to move to? Or like, are you trying to be in that area still?
Not necessarily around Crystal River. We're kind of open to it. I think the thing is for us is like we know what we want. So talking with people and seeing like, hey, where's a good area to do all of this?
Mm-hmm.
So we're pretty open to it, but we're thinking that it's going to be somewhere in Florida. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I'll be here. Our goal is like we want to have our house in Spain, but we want to be here. So it's like 6 months there, 6 months here. So
Oh, nice.
I look
Awesome.
forward to still.
All right, Caylee. Well, yeah, good luck with the door knocking today. I can't wait to hear some stories about that. I'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye.